Well, and it's accessible to all fitness
Yeah.
levels. So you'll have like a young athlete working out with a 70-year-old man who has a knee replacement, and they're doing the same workout. The coaches are there to provide the kind of coaching to make the workout
The
adaptable
functional,
to each of them.
put the F in the 45.
And yet they can be friends and mentor each other, and that's how this community builds. They're doing the same workout, but they're very different. And then we're totally results driven.
For the Marin Council of Chambers, I'm Stephanie Plant, and this is We Are One Marin. You just heard from one of the owners of F45 Training in San Rafael, who is no stranger to community. Together with his husband, not only are they building community here in Marin, they had to build it after a move from the East Coast, after 2 dramatic career changes, and perhaps most notably, after years of struggle to join the community of married couples. We will talk about it all and laugh too as Kalina and I work out how Marin works.
Kyle does a really good job of introducing both of us.
Okay.
And then I can kind of talk about myself.
So Mike's going to introduce Kyle, who's going to introduce you both. I got it.
I am Kyle MacBeth.
That's a big last name, by the way.
Oh, I had to read all the parts of it. Everybody got to switch characters every day. I was King Macbeth. And I wanted to be Lady Macbeth.
I love it. I love
Now
it.
I'm
Well,
Lady
you could be Lady Macbeth.
Family in Western New York. Grew up in the Western New York area with my parents and brother and sister. Was an athlete at a young age. Got into gymnastics. Did that as in like club sport, United States Gymnastics Federation for a long time as a kid, and then into high school, and then as a scholarship athlete in college. Went to Pittsburgh College, and then Boston, Harvard for graduate school. Had a long career in cancer drug development in the pharmaceutical industry.
With like letters after your name, and before.
Yeah, Dr. Kyle Macbeth.
Yes, you left that out. Dr. Lady Kyle
Dr.
Macbeth.
Lady Kyle Macbeth. Yeah. Don't get it twisted. My degree in molecular genetics, and applied that to cancer drug development. Super rewarding career, bringing drugs to patients with bone marrow disorders and cancers. Michael and I met in Boston when I was in graduate school, and kind of parallel circles of friends, and suddenly circles got closer, and we wanted to be closer, and I think it was 2001 that we kind of kicked off our relationship. So we've been together for 22-ish years now. Yeah, got married 9 years ago.
Congratulations.
Yeah. So it's going strong. I mean, there's so much more we could talk about our lives together, but that's kind of maybe my basics. And I brought up the gymnastics just to connect fitness and F45 training to my history.
Your arms make you look like I can recognize the gymnast in the arms.
Absolutely.
And I'm not like, sorry, I'm not harassing you.
No, it's good. I get it.
Okay, so Mike, your career also didn't begin in the fitness industry, is that correct?
No, it didn't. I graduated high school, and then, like a lot of gay kids in the 80s, ran away from home.
Ran away from
yeah,
home,
but
literally?
I was 18, so it was kind of allowed, but I, didn't want to go off to college, and went off and spent a year in the service industry. And after a year there, I thought, I think I want to do something else. I went to Provincetown, Massachusetts, and spent a summer there making some money, and put myself through hairdressing school. And went to hairdressing school, and then went to Newbury Street in Boston, and I went for further training as an assistant.
We've learned a little bit from some of our previous guests about all of the apprenticeship that is required.
Yeah. So, eventually, started doing hair in Boston on Newbury Street, and did it for I think about 18 years.
Wow.
Eventually I started doing into color. At some point I was like managing a salon, or at some point 2 salons, then was working for different color companies and stuff. Again, met Kyle in 2001. And we weren't allowed to get married then, but we were kind of a big part of that movement. Then until all of a sudden we were allowed to, and then we were like, this is not for us. No.
I want it because I can't have it.
Yeah.
Now I can have it, and it doesn't sound so good.
And we were like, we don't really need to be married.
So were you married in Massachusetts or in California?
We were not. No, we came out here before.
Because it was legal in Massachusetts also, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that is where it started. It was
Yes.
2003 when the Goodridge decision came down, and and it was really great to be a part of that.
I bet.
But then we moved to San Francisco in 2007. We moved for Kyle's job,
Yeah, I forgot that part.
and
How do we get from
Yeah.
Boston to San
That's
Francisco?
a lot of shifts.
we were really ready for a change to get out of Boston, and then moved to San Francisco, and I continued to do hair there. Then right around then too, I started getting into CrossFit and started coaching for CrossFit, and CrossFit had just come out, and so I had a real passion for that.
You said that was 07?
Yeah, 07 is when we moved out here. Yeah.
I'm a little bit of a novice when it comes to CrossFit. Can you explain how F45 is different?
Yeah, so I kind of believe that F45 has evolved from a lot of the group fitness, but I think CrossFit is one of them because it started really taking in the idea of using functional movements.
F for functional, yes. I did read that.
Functional, yeah. Yeah.
Which is really important, right? I mean, we want
Absolutely.
hip mobility and ankle flexion
and to be able to
shoulder mobility.
get off the floor and grab something off a shelf and walk upstairs.
What do they say about getting hurt? Certain percentage of accidents happen
In
at
the
home,
yeah.
right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. As we get older, those are the things that we
Sneezing.
need to be able to do.
Sneezing. Oh,
Yeah.
that's what I have to look forward to. So F45 sort of had its foundation, perhaps, in the CrossFit movement.
I think so. I think also Orange Theory. Probably in the last 15 years, that boutique fitness has started to kind of take a hold of the fitness industry a little bit more because it gave some structure. And I think they were grabbing from things that they have seen that have worked throughout the years and putting them together, which is what I think it makes it kind of unique.
So you went from years and years and years of listening to people talk to you
Yes,
as a hair stylist,
colorist,
colorist, to being the one who has to talk as an instructor.
I did a lot of talking as a hair colorist too.
Well, you must not have had me as a client. then. I don't always leave room for the stylist to talk.
Yeah.
So do you both teach classes actively now?
We do, yeah. We both got certified when we decided to make this decision. Obviously, I'd coached gymnastics, he'd coached CrossFit, but we wanted to get personal training certifications. So we did that. And when we opened the gym 2 years ago now, we were doing a lot of the classes, if not most. Less so now because, we have an amazing team of trainers and we need to run the business. And we're opening a second location. We'll have to tell you about that.
Wow.
But yes, we're still doing it. Not as many, but that brings us so much joy, right? Is just interacting with the clients and seeing them improve. And it's just being able to directly connect with a person.
When you build community, right? I mean, that's why people come.
Yeah.
Maybe you can talk a little bit about how you build that community in the fitness industry.
One person at a time.
Yeah. And they tell a friend,
They're
and
a
they
wonderful person, and they tell wonderful people, and it's so cool.
yeah. And how are you finding San Rafael for your business?
We've met so many incredible people, and that's been like the best part of it. It really is, and I don't have to do their hair. Because I just have to I just go and do the real.
He just
fun
has to
part.
vacuum it up.
Yeah, that's true.
Because that is true when you own a business, right? You do all the jobs.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah.
Take out the trash,
Yeah.
everything. I
I
feel
just
like I'm saying that a lot
Finish
lately.
washing the floors.
But you have to remember, we opened during COVID.
I did hear you say 2 years ago.
So,
So,
the construction was pushed out because that was when things were shut down. And then when we opened, gyms weren't allowed to
Be open.
have people inside. So we
Right.
made it work in a parking lot. And so with respect to building a community one person at a time, it was at a time when just what is happening in the world, and I can't go out of my house or to a gym, and then all of a sudden we had this little thing going on in a parking lot, and so people were so grateful, and
so you probably have some clients for life now because of that.
we still have many of those
Absolutely,
people,
yeah.
and it's a pretty special bond because we suffered through it in a unique way together.
Right.
Well, and I mean, as you just said, there were so few places where we could gather
Right.
and feel safe.
Yep.
That's a really wonderful beginning. So let's just talk about it right now. Where's the expansion going to be?
Oh, Novato.
Oh, two in Marin. That's wonderful. And you two don't live in Marin, I don't think, do you?
Close.
Yes,
No,
a little
we
north.
live in Santa Rosa.
Oh, that's not, so that'll be number 3.
Yeah.
There's a bunch up there already.
Oh, okay.
And we like our Marin people.
So that market is saturated. That's great, though, that you're a second location in Nevada. When do you anticipate? I won't hold you to the date, but when do you anticipate perhaps you'll open?
We're looking at around April.
Oh,
Yeah.
2023.
Yeah.
We got to build it.
Yeah.
But we signed the lease, so it's all
We're in
real.
Oh,
permit.
congratulations.
Congratulations.
Vintage Oaks.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. One of our, actually the most popular episode to date is the only episode that we've done where we interviewed a married couple. So you're now our second married couple. So I don't know, guys. You're going to have to see if this is an opportunity. Right? So married couples seem to get the most listens. So there you go. I'm just going to give you that little... That little tidbit. Hashtag married. There you go. That'll be the first Instagram post. How is it going to work and being married? How do you navigate that?
I knew this question was coming.
Come on. You should have heard the other couple.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's funny you asked that because I was thinking about this, and we quit our other jobs because one of the main reasons was, he was traveling all the time, I was working all the time, and we hardly ever saw each other. And now
You went the other
we
way.
have solved that problem. Yeah.
Kyle's eyes just got a little larger. My grandparents, who were married for about a little over 60 years, my grandma used to say, and I know she didn't coin this expression, but for better or for worse, but not for lunch.
Oh, that's very
Right?
interesting. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You might
Relate.
you might take that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it.
You definitely have to learn to respect each other's time, alone, I think.
Each other's independent
Personal time,
or
yeah.
personal time.
Yeah,
That's a nice way of
personal
saying
time,
it. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think it's made our relationship stronger in different ways that I don't think would have ever happened, in our old lives. So.
Can you give me an example?
Well, I mean, we've had to work through quite a few things, and one of the things is we had to learn how to work together, and we had different ways of working together. I mean, he was a scientist, his research and extremely organized, and I was a hair colorist, and I was just going at everything, and I was messy, and so you can put that.
Yeah,
it was an adjustment.
The culture in academia and
Yeah.
pharmaceutical business, drug development is different than a hair salon.
Yeah.
So just
Totally.
even your thoughts on how you interact
Yeah.
with an employee.
But if you don't get the science right, my hair is going to be green, not brown. So,
is true.
I mean, you have a PhD. He has. There's an
Street
H
smarts.
there's an H in the. Oh, did
Yeah.
you hear that?
Yeah.
Street smarts.
Did you say that?
So that East Coast Boston accent brings me to like a number of shifts that you two have made, not just working together, and obviously it's clear that you shifted industries, but what about East Coast to West Coast? How's that shift been?
I mean, we're not going anywhere anytime soon. I love it here.
It doesn't snow.
Yeah. I mean, I was born in Buffalo, New York. And so people will say, oh, well, you're used to it. And then it's like, well, it doesn't mean I like it. When you're born into something, you
Right.
don't know you have options.
Right.
It doesn't
make the
have
most
to
of
be
it.
this cold.
Yeah,
Totally.
you ski and this and
Yeah.
that. And then you realize there's California. And then you're just like, oh, well, maybe I don't have to ski so much.
Yeah.
And Mike, you were actually born in Boston?
Yeah, I was born in Cape Cod, Mass. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not into the winters there at all, but I do miss the East Coast sometimes.
We like having our, what we say is like East Coast credibility with
Yeah.
respect to like humor and things
Yeah,
like that.
exactly.
Which
Yeah.
doesn't always translate over here, but you
Yeah.
find your people and
Yeah.
it works out.
It is.
There are definitely differences.
Well, I mean, I've been here so long now. When I go back east and someone says something, and I'm just like, a little bit of West Coast. I was like, do you know what you just said?
You've gotten a little soft.
I know, I'm softening up.
Blood spinning.
We just sent our first, I have 2 kids, but we just sent one to college, and she chose Pennsylvania because she's playing D1 water polo. So she's getting that exposure now and noticing everyone dresses so preppy, Mom.
Yeah.
I haven't worn my overalls yet. Her like beachy
Right.
California vibe. Hasn't been brave enough to try it on yet.
going from Boston to San Francisco restaurants when we would like dress up in the beginning, and then you're like, oh my gosh, you can just wear like
flip-flops.
You came in that.
and your dog can be in here.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Dogs
exactly.
everywhere. So business is good enough that you're expanding. How do you find Marin for doing business? I mean, you said you liked your Marin people, but why?
I feel like it has a little bit of an East Coast vibe to it here, honestly. And I find people to be very down to earth and very easy to talk to here and kind of funny, even more so than San Francisco a little bit. Yeah, and San Francisco, I mean, it's great, but everybody's kind of intense. In Marin, everyone's a little bit more laid back, you know what I mean? And so it's easier to kind of relate to them and trying to just to be yourself around them. And then you're not feeling like you're selling them, because you're just talking to them.
I don't think I have like the perspective, right? I haven't opened a business here or there, but I feel like just in general, we surround ourselves with people that we can relate to and have shared values, and somehow that got communicated out from the beginning, and it's just working. We're like, it gives me the goosebumps to like see like what's happening when we like had these challenge events where people focus on their fitness goals, and we just had an end of challenge party, and people show up and they're thankful and they say nice things about us, and we just can't even express.
Amazing.
It's so
they
cool.
do toasts to us and everything. It's just a wonderful thing. Post about us, and just hearing the feedback makes it so worth it. It's really amazing.
Well, you two both have infectious personalities. I mean, it's not like either one of you is a wallflower here. I mean, let's just put it that way. I'm delighted to hear that you've found home here. Is there anything about being in Marin that you've found difficult?
I mean, not really, but there's always this underlying anxiety of, maybe not being accepted as a queer married couple in Marin, but we've never come across anything. The anxiety has proven not to be necessary.
Not based on
because we've met
reality.
so many great people, and people have been so accepting. And then we've met so many great people from other diversities. Our membership is extremely diverse. I don't know if that is our personalities or the fact that we come from a minority ourselves. Yeah, I don't think that answers your question.
No, it does. And I think that's an interesting angle to the subject of, minority-owned businesses in a county that is 85% white. We interviewed another business that is LGBT certified from a national business organization.
We listened to that
Allegra.
podcast.
Allegra,
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
my God, that was so great.
Charles was great.
Yeah, that was amazing.
I did a lot of research in college and in my master's program. I actually, I run a real estate company now, but it was my grandpa's business. Before that, I thought I was, going to have a big television career one day. So I studied media and broadcasting, and I had to write a couple theses, both of them about sort of the gay and lesbian rights movement through 20, 25 years or so of press coverage, from Stonewall to, at the time, it was The Present, right? Which was a long time ago.
We won't talk about
So like
Don't name me
69
that.
to 89 when I was writing it, and super interesting because I had to sit down in the library with microfiche. Kalina's not even going to, she's going to be like, what? No LexisNexis? Kalina has a different career too. I'm hoping she's going to talk about that in a minute.
Yes.
She's been in career shifts too, but it was always really interesting to look at newspaper coverage, even in terminology. You used to read the homosexual community, right?
Yeah.
And then we went to gay, and then gay and lesbian, and then the letters, and
Right.
and then
The plus.
and then the plus and the Q, and do you use it or not? I mean, it's great. Talk about inclusivity. But I think that back to what you said about the anxiety of acceptance or not, that anxiety runs through all of these minority-owned businesses, I think, that we've been talking about. And I
Absolutely.
can't generalize for anyone, but I feel like there's been a thread of that. It's great to be able to have a place to talk about it.
Exactly.
We've been really fortunate to have such honesty in our dialogue. I appreciate it from both of you, too.
Well, it's founded in oppression and acts that happened to these people and us way back, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's prejudice, right?
Totally.
Yeah. And it's hard to shake that.
Yes.
It's so refreshing when you're proven wrong, and you have the courage, probably because we had supporting families that made you feel safe, so you could have the courage to be your authentic self.
Was that ever in part of your conversation in opening a business, is whether to or not?
No.
Just Mike and Kyle are opening a business.
Mike and I never even talked about whether we were going to, be openly LGBT business. It just was assumed. And then you, I don't know, behave that way, or on our social media, in our welcome letter to members, it talks about our story as a married couple, blah, blah, blah. Then
You're out.
you're out.
Yeah.
And people,
And you're out in
Embrace
your,
it.
in your whole being,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That's-
But then in doing that, being so well received that's the joy.
That's the joy. And it's a joy for me, too, to learn about it from you.
However, 30 years ago, it would probably be, when we first came out.
21-year-old Kyle wasn't out.
Yeah, no, I
Right.
know.
Right.
But I mean, you would probably have to make that decision. Are we going to pretend we have girlfriends and wives as we open a business as business partners?
Right.
Are we going to be received better in the country? That's a conversation you would have. I mean, some people did, some people didn't. But yeah, it's amazing to have lived through those times to these times, and to see how there's so much negativity in the news, see the progress that's happened over the years. And so
Well, the smile on your face is pretty good to see,
Yes.
too.
Yes.
Both of you. And speaking of what to share and what not to share as business owners, I mean, forget heterosexual marriage or homosexual marriage or whatever word we want to put on it. Did you want to share that you were married?
Well, this is interesting because I sometimes say, this is my partner, which could be interpreted
Construed as
married
business.
and that rubs Mike the wrong way. And
there was a time where, with gay men, we would say, this is my friend, this is my lover, then it was my partner. And then when we were finally able to get married, I think we, as, gay men, kind of struggled with using the word husband for a while, but I don't know.
well, it's confusing to me though, because then there's the cis couples who went the other way. They go to partner.
Partner.
So I don't know what to say.
Husband.
Yeah. Husband's good.
Mike's going to tell you.
I guess I just think about the married part. I just wonder if it ever occurred to you to share or not share.
No, again, we just assumed we would be open about all parts of our life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I sometimes find as a woman, and maybe this goes into a different area of prejudice, I don't feel like my marital status is something that needs to be discussed
Interesting. Yeah.
in business settings.
I get that.
I can relate to that. I
Yeah.
think that's part of my partner-husband thing. It's probably
Yeah.
subconscious.
Yeah. When I first came out, I didn't think we were ever going to be allowed to get married. And then for a long time, then being part of that fight in the early 2000s. And then when we were finally allowed, and then we moved to San Francisco and decided this is what we wanted to do. And it was so powerful to
Absolutely.
be able to do it. Now I'm going to say it.
Yeah, totally.
I have,
Every opportunity that presents itself, right? Yeah.
Hashtag husbands.
I love it.
Wait, what was the other hashtag? Besides, oh, married. We have to make a list now so we don't miss any.
Kyle doesn't mind it in the hashtags.
I wanted to talk a little bit just for a second. You chose to pivot from a hair colorist, salon managing career, and you chose to pivot from a PhD. I mean, did your mother ever say, like, what the heck did you do with your
Oh, yeah.
doctorate?
Yeah. She's like, you can't go back,
How's that been?
Amazing. I mean, I think we're in our 50s. This happened when we were 50. And, my boss and people were like, this is a midlife crisis. And I was like, well, what is a midlife crisis? It's you take time to pause and reflect and say, what do I want to do with however many years I have left? And am I spending enough time with my husband? And am I feeling like I'm of service to others? And all these things that were of value to me. And Michael has a similar story. And we knew we were better with projects together. And that's what we're doing. And it's fun. Yeah.
Well, and if 50's midlife, you better be running an F45 gym to get to 100.
Right? Exactly.
Good math.
I mean, that's great.
My mother was fine. It was my clients who were like, what the hell are you doing?
Well, sure. That's abandonment.
Of course, yeah.
That's abandonment. Seriously. Like, did anybody try to hold on to you?
I mean, honestly, I loved what I did, but the chemicals from the hair color were really bothering my skin. And that was originally we got the idea to do F45 is because, I don't know, my health was...
Getting you out of that, yeah.
Yeah. was starting to be really apparent, like the ammonia, the bleach, and everything being around it all the time was affecting my breathing, affecting my skin.
Stephanie mentioned that I recently went through kind of a similar career shift. I graduated in 2020, pandemic class from law school. And I was in Hawaii, and I had to move back. I didn't know what was going to happen. Was the bar going to even go down? And I wanted to come back with my family. And as the pandemic kind of progressed, I had to kind of move on with my life. But life kind of found Stephanie and I together.
Speaking of partners in a different way.
Right. I actually got hired on the real estate arm of her business. And it was happenstance that her demo for this podcast was due. And I graduated from TAM High School in Mill Valley, and I participated in a documentary film program. So it was my last Marin reference to anything on my resume. And I remember before I sent it to her, I'm like...
It was like 11 or 12 years ago, so it wasn't like she graduated from high school 5 seconds ago.
I was like looking at my resume, and I was like, anchors me in Marin. It's the only thing that anchors me in Marin, because I left as a kid and went and lived in Hawaii for the last 10 years. Should I delete it? Should I take it off? And I just sent it to her with it on. So the first week she's like, all this is great. Law school is great, but I see you have Adobe and you know how to edit. Can you help me with this demo? And it kind of blossomed into that. But when I was listening about your story, it resonated with me of that anxiety. Obviously now you have a fond memory of the triumphs and things, but they're not fond when you're going through them, right? And like the anxiety of stepping away from stability, stepping away from things that you know you're good at. I'm like, am I going to walk away from all the things that I've built up to stand on and have to learn something new? And it's been super refreshing. I mean, the podcast, the creative arm to work with Stephanie and have this mentorship, but in the moment, I mean, I had her number sitting on my desk for like weeks, maybe months, before I kind of mustered up the courage to contact her.
Well, and the reverse is true. I had your number also, and it was moving into the holidays, and I was, who starts a job at Christmas?
Yeah.
And I didn't know if the administrative work around a real estate management business would be stimulating enough for someone, a young person, frankly. Yeah. And then this opportunity to do a podcast with a grant and then some gifting of some of my time came up, and I thought, I can do it myself. And then, no, I can't. And my daughter was at TAM High School at the time in the very same program where they study English, history, and documentary film. And she had to do her own editing. And it took me about a half of a negative second to know that there was no way I was going home to get editing help. And she kept saying, oh, you can learn it, Mom, maybe. And so on Kalina's resume, when we have a mutual friend, which is how we both kept being told that we should contact the other, I saw the Adobe and I just thought, okay, that's what we need to do right now.
Nice.
And we can figure everything else out later.
Frankly, the mentorship goes both ways. I think it's really quite valuable to have a mentor who's younger than you also.
I think that's great.
And she never thought I was going to stick a microphone in her face.
Oh, no, this was my worst nightmare.
Well, we're glad you found each other. It looks like you guys are a dynamic duo.
Such a great
I
dynamic.
did traffic reports on the news in San Francisco in the 90s and thought that Katie Couric's chair was mine. And it turns out only one person gets to sit in that chair at a time, and they tend to stay.
Yeah.
And it's fine. I don't think I would have wanted to be sitting next to that other guy. So
Right.
Sorry.
Yeah.
But let's see. So if I walk in and I want to take a class, tell me why I should do that.
What I think makes us unique is that we mimic a personal training experience in a group setting. So there's 2 personal trainers in each class.
Oh.
And so basically the technology allows for the workout to be on the monitors. And at the beginning of a class, one of the trainers is going to explain the rotation of the workout, and then the other trainer is going to demonstrate every single exercise. And then there's a brief warm-up. You're assigned a station. If you're brand new, we put you with somebody who knows where they're going. And
Meaning another client?
Another client that knows where they're going.
That's nice, too.
Yeah, because we're always introducing people bringing people together.
That's fun.
And people embrace it. It's great.
Well, and it's accessible to all fitness
Yeah.
levels. So you'll have like a young athlete working out with a 70-year-old man who has a knee replacement, and they're doing the same workout. The coaches are there to provide the kind of coaching to make the workout
The
adaptable
functional,
to each of them.
put the F in the 45.
And yet they can be friends and mentor each other, and that's how this community builds. They're doing the same workout, but they're having, they're very different. And then we're totally results driven. So this is like not a box gym where you walk in and just kind of look at your phone and lift some weights. If you want, we're like talking about your goals. We're doing body composition scans. We're holding you accountable, and people see results. So the workouts work. You have to do the nutrition side too.
I saw you had a service, though, a company that you
Yep,
can purchase meals.
Yeah.
I thought that was a really nice component.
Yep.
Yeah.
But people see results. We just had our last 8-week challenge, and several of the women lost 9 to 15 pounds of fat and built muscle at the same time. So it's, if you want to do it, you can do it.
So you're managing. It's not just the number on the scale. You're looking at the breakdown of those numbers.
Right. The total weight could stay the same, and you could have just shifted fat to muscle.
We're looking for overall health. And it's great to see the generations, bringing the generations together and introducing it. At the end of the class, when you do a big Instagram photo and people are older hanging out with it, and some of them know each other from this is my sister's daughter's best friend that they're working out with.
No,
It's great.
I saw some of those photos on
Yeah.
your Instagram when I was doing my homework, and I was moved by the age range.
Yeah, and there's lots of guys too.
That's great.
The guys really love it, and couples really
A lot of
love
families
it. A lot
do
of
it together.
families come do it together, and
Oh, that's
It's
fun.
great
Yep.
to see.
For a couple who did not grow up here, the fact that you're building community here at such a fast rate and that you're already expanding in 2 years, it's quite, congratulations.
Yes.
Thank you
so much.
Feels good.
What a success story.
Yeah.
I love that. So let's see. Why don't you tell us where people can find you?
On the web, it's F45Training.com/San Rafael, and it'll be /Novato soon.
Yes.
Instagram, F45_training_San Rafael. Text us.
And
call
we're
us.
in the Montecito Plaza in San Rafael.
Yes, easy to find that.
the music booming.
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah, DJs on Saturday classes. So much
Yeah.
fun.
Mike and Kyle, really, it has been a pleasure to visit. We met you a few weeks ago at a business showcase, and we're just delighted to have an opportunity to get to know you a little bit better.
Yes.
We had so much fun. This has
Thanks,
been great.
Kalina.
Thank
Yay.
you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Appreciate
much. Remember, you can try a class at F45 in San Rafael's Montecito Plaza. We also invite you to try us by joining the conversation. How about calling us with your ideas or thoughts on our episodes? We will take your calls at 415-847-2539 or send an email to weareonemarinpodcast@gmail.com. I really do hope to hear from you. The Marin Community Foundation generously sponsors this podcast. Our theme music is performed by a student at Enriching Lives Through Music. Elm is in San Rafael's Canal neighborhood. Finally, a reminder to support diverse local businesses and shop Marin.